Gimbals are awesome, versatile tools, and they can add a lot of production value to your videos over just shooting handheld or shooting lockdown on a tripod. But there's more to getting good footage from your gimbal than just turning it on and pointing it. So today I want to go over some gimbal tips that I've picked up from the past couple years of using my DJI Ronin RS3 and shooting everything from weddings to YouTube videos to commercial projects, all kinds of stuff. Tip 1, the viewer doesn't need to know that every shot is a gimbal shot. Here's what I mean. There are a lot of cool, complex moves that you can do with a gimbal, but they're not always required. Sometimes subtlety is key, and just a very slow push in, pull out, dolly side to side very slowly will achieve the feeling that you want without going overboard. You don't need to be spinning and running around all the time. Tip 2, a gimbal is not a magic bullet. Gimbals take a lot of the work out of stabilizing your camera, but they don't do everything. You do have to put in the time to practice your movements and make sure you're stable, especially if you start doing more complex moves like a pan to the left while dollying right and tilting down or something like that. Practice your ninja walk because the gimbal doesn't stabilize the up and down axis. So every step you take with the gimbal, if it moves up and down, then that's going to appear in your video. So practice walking as smoothly as possible without bobbing up and down. That's one of the things you can do to get nice, smooth movements out of your gimbal. Also, set your gimbal in the slowest tracking mode and just get used to practicing turning the gimbal side to side like this and keeping your subject tracked in the center of the frame as you move. Tip 3, get creative. Gimbals allow you to get all kinds of high and low angles and tilting angles and things that you can't get with any other kind of stabilizer. So use that to your advantage. Go for a really cool low angle, go for a really high tilt down angle, go for that parallax shot. Again, remember tip number 1, don't overdo it. You don't want literally every shot to be some crazy movement, but still, be creative, try different things out. Your gimbal can allow you to do things that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. Tip number 4, lock in. A fully loaded gimbal can weigh around 10 pounds, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you are holding it straight out in front of you for like 8 hours, it can really start to weigh down on your arms and your shoulders. If your arms start to get shaky because you're tired, that will translate into your footage. So you want to keep your arms close into your body with your gimbal right in front of you. Avoid holding it straight out like this whenever possible, because that's going to tire your arms quicker. And take short breaks when you can. Or just get super jacked so it's like lifting a feather. Your choice. Tip number 5, balance the gimbal between zooming distances. If you're using a prime lens on the gimbal, you don't have to worry about this, but I like to use zooms on the gimbal because changing out different prime lenses for different focal lengths on a gimbal means rebalancing the gimbal entirely. Unless you're using like cinema lenses and they're all the exact same size and weight and everything, you don't have to worry about it. But if you are using regular photography lenses like I am, switching between different primes will be vastly different weights. However, with a zoom lens, you want to balance the gimbal with the zoom about halfway between the most zoomed out and the most zoomed in. So for my 24-70, I'm gonna balance it around 35 to 50 millimeters, somewhere in there. And that way I can zoom all the way to 70, or I can zoom all the way out to 24, and it doesn't mess with the gimbal's balance enough for it to throw it off. The motors can still compensate for it. Whereas if you set the lens to 24 millimeters and then try and zoom into 70, it'll probably still work, but it's gonna burn out the motors a lot quicker. There is one caveat to this, is that if you are using a zoom lens and you know you're gonna be out of certain focal length the entire time, then don't worry about this, just balance to whatever your focal length is. But if you want to be able to change focal lengths throughout, it's best to balance it in the middle of the zooming length. Just keep in mind, if you're going to be using your gimbal not properly balanced for a long period of time, it will drain the battery faster, so just remember that. But those are all my gimbal tips for you. Hopefully this helps you get some better gimbal footage out of yours. Seriously, the gimbal is one of the most versatile tools I own, and I use it regularly especially for client projects, because it just allows you to get that extra level of production quality compared to just like a handheld shot or just locked down on a tripod. They're super versatile. They allow for so many different types of movements, and especially for one-man band, run and gun style filmmaking like I do a lot of the time, they're perfect. But that's all I have for you in this video. I'll link my gimbal along with all the other camera gear I use regularly in the description below if you want to check it out. They are affiliate links, so if you purchase anything from there, it is a good way of supporting the channel without any additional cost to you if you were going to purchase something anyways. And of course, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and I'll see you in the next one.